And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, a part of the College Huddle Network. Along with my partners, Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and Shelton Moss, I am Curtis Wilson. And this episode is brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts down at Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy located 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. We are also brought to you by Moments on the Moor. Are you looking for that weekend getaway but need to make it to Blacksburg? Then Moments on the Moor is exactly what you're looking for. Owned by a proud Hokie, located just outside Lexington, Virginia, just a little over an hour drive from Blacksburg. This place gives you fishing, kayaking, or just relaxing by the river with a nice campfire there right out of your back door. Check out the link in our comments section and on their Instagram page at Moments on the Maury. Welcome back, gentlemen. Welcome back. Week one's in the books.
Week one is in the books, not the outcome we wanted, but we're back at it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down, and then we're going to move on to Vandy, man.
Orange did not win games. It didn't. They looked good.
Looked great
in the game, though.
Popped.
It did not win the game.
But we learned some things about the team. I think
we did.
I think most of the fan base probably, if I had to sort of sum it up collectively, was somewhat encouraged by the performance. I think with the way, well, not everyone. We'll get into it.
B.
Not Pete B.
Not Pete.
But wait a second. Didn't Pete B on this very program? We're going 6-6, and then he gets upset. And I was like, "What? You said we were going to be 6-6?"
I think his assessment is that the South Carolina team we saw is not a very good team.
Shit.
At least not the team that he thought they would be. So relative to that, he didn't think we played well. That's my takeaway from what he said and what we've talked about.
I completely disagree with that. Because that defensive line is nasty. Them linebackers is nasty. They got solid secondary. I think what it is, we're pissed off because we saw moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like moments we could have taken advantage of. I think they've got them pegged right. What, 15? Because Sellers is a monster. But we can get into all that. So how was y'all's Labor Day weekend? Y'all do anything fun after Sunday or before Sunday?
Sit around the house.
You got work to do, man. You got a new house.
Sit around the house. Tried to watch some football. Hey, man, shout out to Bill Belichick. All I'm going to say for right now. Shout out to Bill Belichick and his girlfriend.
Oh, baby.
Hope they
She was hanging out on the sideline during the game, man.
I hope they're having a lovely evening. Have Michael Jordan in the building. Hey, man, it could always be worse. That's what I'll say sometimes.
I don't know.
It could always be, yeah. I mean, we lost.
You talking about for us or for them?
I'm talking about for us. It could always be worse, man. TCU was straight trying to punish them. The third string running back was running through people. Like, that looked bad. So,
nice.
Anyway, that's all I did on Labor Day for real, was just kind of watch some TV, put some boxes away, things like that. Brian?
Well, we made a day trip down to Raleigh on Saturday. Hung out with some friends, did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, headed back. Obviously, you know what I did most of Sunday. Watched the loss, unfortunately, but it wasn't a bad day overall. Watching some games, had a few drinks, made some pot roast. There were worse things that happened elsewhere. So I wasn't doing too bad over here.
What about you, Sheldon? You getting anything, or are you working?
Oh no, I was working. We went down to Rock Hill, South Carolina for our volleyball tournament here at with William and Mary, and I came back up and called a couple soccer games. So I was pretty exhausted by the time that the weekend was over. But obviously, I caught the UNC debacle the other night, which was fun. And then on Tuesday, I had the distinct privilege of interviewing Brian Randall, the former Hokies legend. He sat down with us for about 10 minutes on we have a Tribe Sports podcast that we do. And he is for those who don't know, he's the recently hired quarterbacks coach here at William and Mary. Okay. So it was great. It was great to talk with him. He's a really cool dude.
That's awesome, man. It's awesome you got to interview a Hokie legend like that. It's awesome. Look at Sheldon doing a little bit of everything. doing all these
Yeah,
podcasts.
yeah. If you want to, head to tribeathletics.com/podcast. It'll go out tomorrow if you want to hear what Brian had to say. So just plugging
100%.
that.
Definitely. And myself, nephew's getting married early next year. Had a little shower for them. We drank some beer. We ate some barbecue. The Southern Plenty place in Bryan in South Boston. I know you've probably been there. The banana pudding.
Okay.
Ooh, boy. Really good. Yeah. That was a paid endorsement. No, it wasn't a paid endorsement. It needs to be, though. But, it is Wednesday, but we always tell the truth whenever we get together after a game. And I can't wait to hear what not only the guys here have to say. We've chatted, of course, and texted back and forth and a couple phone calls here and there. But we tell the truth on Tuesday or Wednesday, what went well, what went bad, what we didn't expect, and what we can do better moving forward. So whoever wants to start it off, like there were some bright moments in this game on Sunday, and Brian's ready. Like he has now.
We saw one that I think we all kind of expected, but we were unsure about. But I think we expected it, and that's a big defensive improvement. The defense for most of that game played as good as you could have expected, especially against what was touted to be a above average to very good overall offense, and obviously a quote unquote Heisman contender and future NFL quarterback in Sellers there for South Carolina. I thought we did a good job of mixing him up, keeping him confused, keeping him unsure of where he wanted to go with the football with the way we were mixing coverages and mixing the fronts up there. It was a really, really good job, really good game plan by Cephas. And I think, for the majority of the game, the players executed it pretty well.
Sheldon, what about you, man? What impressed you? What went well for you watching? I know you were running all around, so I don't know if you called it live or afterwards. And we know you dive into stats and everything. What jumped out to you as what went well?
Well, definitely the defensive line. You look at the stats: 13 pressures generated against Lenore Sellers, which I thought was pretty good. In the run game, I thought they were really good. I know it was 5.7 yards per rush when you take out the sacks and the kneel downs. So the rushing total was a little bit misleading in USC's favor. But still, I thought for the most part, we got some push in the D line. They didn't look like they were getting blown off the ball every single snap. So I was really impressed with them. Linebackers, missed a few tackles here and there. Safeties too had some, discipline issues, but I thought the defense was pretty good. And again, I'm not a, defensive play calling expert, but it seemed like for the most part, guys were in the right position to make the play. And sometimes they didn't make the tackle, which means it's probably more talent than coaching.
Tally, what did you feel? That you called me on Sunday about 9:00 and me and you talked 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was. So, Sheldon just hit a lot of stuff. Defense looked. I'll say a little bit better than. So here's the thing: I didn't go to Atlanta because I didn't expect much. Like it's 3 hours away from me, so I didn't go to Atlanta because I didn't expect us to be in the game. Again, I had what I thought would happen, but. Realistically, I thought we would kind of show up the same team as we've been. Couldn't handle things, getting pushed around. You didn't see much of that, You've seen a lot of good stuff, seen some bad stuff too, but Sheldon kind of summed it up. I mean, I've seen a lot of people rotating in on that defensive line. I think it said he played 29 people on defense or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need it, going through a long season. The more people that you can get reps and the more people you can get in the game that's doing something positive, the better. Number two, what you did wasn't positive.
Oh, that's this right here.
Yes.
But hold on, Tally, I'm going to throw up something because something that you talked to me about on Sunday night, Sean kind of noticed it too. So I want you to hit on that because you said that to me straight up.
Oh, yeah.
First thing that came out of your mouth.
Yeah, it's like, of course, some people say South Carolina ain't going to be good. I don't know what they're going to be. I know they're big. I know they're SEC school. I know that they have recruited pretty good over the last couple of years, and they have a lot of NFL talent on that roster. So when you see our guys who I don't, from my perspective, didn't think we had a lot of, NFL guys ready to go next year on the roster going against their team, we didn't look out of place. We looked big, or as big. We looked as physical, a lot of times more physical. We have more sacks than them. And they've got arguably the best defensive player in the country on their team. So, again, I think that we had a good game plan. I think we looked the part. Jared Ferguson definitely has been from what I've seen, an upgrade thus far. And we weren't scared. Like you seen the guys, putting their nose in there. I mean, even the announcers who I freaking hated listening to talked about, hearing what it's like. It was car crashes happening on that field. I haven't heard that in the last couple of years. It's been a lot of wrap and roll tackles. We was hitting people, so that was good to see.
Yeah. For me, the one thing, and me and you talked about this for a few minutes day after the game, is that might have been the best prepared Brent Pry team in 3 years. Like, like there weren't – some people were upset about the timeouts at the end of the half. Some people weren't. I think it was managed okay from where we were situationally. It was like, it's not going to do anything. Once his name went down, it's like, well, ain't no need to call a timeout because they can give you the timeout. But overall, they had a game plan. They knew what they wanted to do. And then and I think this probably is noticed by more than one person, but me and Brian got a couple texts saying, I think they've made more adjustments in the first half than they did all of last year during games. And I don't know if y'all saw that. I can't see that with my eyes. But Tally, you shaking your head. I'm assuming you saw some things that were different after a few drives.
Yeah, I mean, hell, the first drive, but somebody wasn't on the field on the first drive, so I ain't gonna even get into all that. But I will say we did see some different adjustments after the first drive. And then just all throughout the game, you've seen some different things happening. Now, again, I'm not glazing a loss, you know what I'm saying? No. Because we still lost. But at the same time, I do have to look at it's a long season. That was not a game that I counted as a win. I had us as a 7-5 team. Still think we can get there. Watching that game may have made me think we can go to 8-4, depending on, what the quarterback does. But definitely look at Robbie. Robbie got his hand up. He said it was him. I know Robbie was watching. Yeah, I know it was Robbie watching.
It was Robbie.
But it was, I mean, to go back and watch it and see a lot of different twists, a lot of ET twists, different things like that they were doing that I'm not really used to us doing. It was just APR beating his man. APR bending and getting around the corner. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of what our pass rush entailed last year. And we had 4 sacks and maybe from 4 different people. I have to go back and look.
6 because there were some half sacks. Laws, Emmett Laws, Fall, Kamari, Jaden Keller got one on a blitz. Kelvin Gilliam, Ben Bell, all got accredited for a sacks.
That's what you got to do.
And that, by the way, you talk about that twist stunt. That move that Bell and Copeland pulled on the left side of that line.
Yep.
I sat here and watched that, and Brian, my assumption is if that technique is pulled off the way, nobody is going to stop that. Nobody. Like maybe an NFL lineman that is beastly, but watching that technique when Kamari comes over and Copeland wipes, it's just like, he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we talked about this offseason is that we knew we weren't going to have an APR on this team, and we knew we might not even have an Aeneas Peoples on this team, but we needed to be able to replace their production and then some in aggregate. And I think we shown that we definitely have that capability going forward, as long as what we saw against South Carolina wasn't an aberration.
Yeah. What about this? I agree with Robbie on this. Keller looked good.
Robbie's the defensive guy. I can say this. A lot of people, and I'm one of the people too, that's like, when somebody's been at school for so long, it's like, man, you get what you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the kind of person who says, okay, this is the year he takes a step, and he just becomes this man child or something. But when I seen Keller and Woodson on the field compared to the other guys, not saying they did horrible, it was a noticeable difference. Those two playing the run or chasing down ball carriers and things like that, you can see a difference in the other linebackers we have at this moment. I think number 30 and 26 was the other two I seen on the field.
Santiago
26 was getting, he looked like Woodson at first, like the kind of close to the same size, skin colors close to the same. So I was like, is that him? Is it not? It wasn't. It was not.
It was not.
Now, Short, on the other hand, made a couple good plays. I mean, that one where Sellers broke from Copeland. Yeah. I mean, anybody else, the way Short tackled, that would have been a sack. Right. It's Sellers. You ain't gonna do that to Sellers.
Right.
But I think overall defensively, you feel pretty good. And like you said, but it's also playing 29 guys against that caliber of talent on offense with Nick Harbor, with Faison, with Sellers. They're rebuilding their offensive line a little bit. But to say you played that many guys and still were creating pressure, you still were stopping them short. That says a lot about how they've retooled the defense. And I think that is a big step going forward, because now, I mean, there were certain times last year when there's certain guys not on the field defensively, it was just like, this ain't gonna be good.
Gash.
I'll throw this up there. We can talk about that a little bit. I saw the PFF grade as well. I will say the consistency was better, but he did have some negative plays. So it's kind of, you kind of take that, as it comes, I guess. I thought from a total snap count, he looked better than he has any time in Blacksburg, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, we couldn't see some other guys step up and steal some of those snaps in the future. So I don't know.
100%. I'll let Shelton pull up the grade because Shelton does that stuff. And while Shelton's looking that up, let's flip to offense. Not the best, only no touchdowns scored, only 11 points, but you still, again, what went well. And I do think the law firm of Green and Green is going to make a formidable combo this year. Neither one probably to the point of Jay Lane yet, maybe Aiden next year. But, when you look at what those two guys did overall on Saturday, there was a drop. There was a bad penalty by both. But overall, Sunday, they're going out here. Donovan Green, 3 for 94, Aiden 5 for 71. I mean, you do that for 12 games, that's a 1,000-yard receiver, and that's a guy right at the doorstep of a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah.
So I think wide receiver 1 and 2 is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And we saw opportunities. We saw opportunities that I think we didn't necessarily see for guys in a lot of games last year. A lot of catchable balls, a lot of opportunities for them to really go out there and show their ability as a receiver, not just routes that are coming open, but opportunities down the field where it's a one-on-one matchup and you let your guy go up there and make a play. And both Greens did a good job at that at different times of the game.
Kyle, you were about to say something.
I forgot. I'm reading these comments, just laughing. So it ain't no telling. I'm gonna let the show go on.
Let the show go on.
Free Caleb.
What, free Caleb? Where's that? He's free. He missed his one drive. We'll wait till November to see what happens next.
Right.
So, by the way, that's if y'all noticed that nasty, ugly
safety was supposed to be there. By the way, if you go back and look at the tape, it looks like he got caught peeking in the backfield on the play action there.
And Caleb,
I'm pretty sure that was Bass back there.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the cover. Well, the whole thing is that was one of the first times all day we had went into like a cover 1, because we've been kind of playing cover 3, cover 2 shells all day. But again, I'm going to say something why it's good. Cephas knew they were just going to pound the ball. They were up. They had been gashing, but they'd getting 2-3-4. They were trying to run out the clock. And that's just straight up it. Another thing that I won't say caught my eye, didn't have the best stat day, but just the way he ran. And Tally, I know you mentioned him right before. Hawkins may not be tooting, but it's not a downgrade to the bottom of the barrel.
No. I think they got a lot to figure out in the running back room. Who they want to get carries to, it's going to depend on health. It's going to depend on, what we're playing. Because I've seen some stuff out of everybody who got on the field. It just comes down to who's going to be kind of the guy. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Stewart didn't play. Hawkins did a better job than I thought he would do. They kind of kept talking about, he came from, D2 or wherever he came from. And, this is a different stage than he played on, but he didn't look scared, The only thing, again, as a fan, for the last couple of years, we've seen Tootin in the backfield. And you don't realize how good he is till you don't have him. Hawkins would break one tackle, and he just don't have that burst to get away like Tootin did. Not saying he don't have burst, but he don't have that burst that Tootin did. Because when he would bend the corner, when he gets downhill, he was 10 yards up the field. I don't know that we got a back like that right now. So I think Hawkins did a good job for what he was, for what he was in the game for, because they was hitting him, but he wasn't an easy tackle, and he got some hard yards. So I'll be interested to see what the young man can do Saturday. I don't even want to say the rest of the season. We'll just talk about this next game.
One game at a time. Shelton, anything else on the offense that you felt went well as you were doing your research?
I'm having to think because I don't think that much went well.
It wasn't much, right?
Well, that's just just say it. That's it.
It wasn't a lot.
I thought. Well, I guess I'll give the O-line credit. I thought they did an okay job opening up some holes. I thought pass protection was as good as you could probably expect it to be against a front like that. I don't think we had the sort of just obscene gaps that we kind of had last year. So I think they showed some progress, and my hope is, as I talked about, hopefully Matt Moore can coach these guys up to where later in the season. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah. I'm trying. I'm grasping at straws here.
Well, but
the other thing I've got is like the preparedness. I felt like on offense we looked prepared. We didn't always execute.
Yeah,
but it looked like there was a game plan.
Things were open at times.
We knew how we wanted to attack South Carolina. We were doing it consistently. It's just that a lot of times the guys, especially when we crossed the 50, especially on those key downs, we just didn't execute the way we needed to keep the ball in our hands and get points on the board.
And we didn't have a whole bunch of dumbass penalties. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we had like 4 penalties, I think, maybe 40 yards, but I think Garrett jumped off sides on a kind of crucial third down or at the beginning of the game. But you didn't see a whole bunch of, pre-snap penalties and things like that I'm used to us doing. I think that when we continue in this episode, that chat, y'all will see. Everybody thinks that we played really good, I think. And I see people keep putting drones up here, and I'm not defending drones by no means because I want to win. But when you keep listening, and if you go back and watch that game, I don't think it was as clear-cut as people think. He got pressured a lot, and that defensive line is good. He has to be better, especially at taking the layups, making the easy throws. He has to be better at that. A 10-yard throw, we got to have it. But it wasn't a lot of standing around and let me just throw this ball to you. He was on the move, and guess what? He's not a pro. I mean, he's not a pro. He has some development that he still has to go through. He has some development he still has to go through. But he was a lot of moving. He was a lot of moving around. He ain't Lamar Jackson. He may not be good. He may not be good at throwing on the run. I don't know. We'll see.
We will see.
Shout out to Trent for that bend that corner, the Jello reference. Bend that corner.
Oh yeah.
Good one. I thought about that too when Curtis said it, but I couldn't make the joke.
You couldn't make the joke. Get it in there next time. Get in there. One last piece of what went well. God, we're gonna miss this man so much next year. John Love. Good Lord,
man. Player of the game,
the
man.
savior, the savior.
Well, it's to a point now. If we cross the 45, he might can make this kick because that one Saturday, that was an NFL kick. Dead pipe down the middle, halfway up the crossbar.
Yeah,
I mean,
it would have been good at least another 5 yards out.
60. John Love's a savior because that man can kick, and next year we ain't gonna have it, but he is going to make an NFL squad. Oh yeah,
he played on Sunday this past week, and he'll be playing on Sundays next year.
Damn right. There we go. And we get little brother next year. So absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
So, we start with sunshine and roses, but we know it was some bad shit on Sunday. Who wants to start it? Where you want to start? How you want to start? Because there was quite a few things that we can talk about. And I'm sure the chat's going to tell us even more as we get into it.
Well, Tally, you hit on some of it, so I'm going to let you lead on that first one there.
Go for it, man.
What went bad? Yeah. Inconsistency at quarterback. I think Andretti was asking about it. So we'll get into it. Kyron has to be much better to win. To put a team on his back and go win a game, he has to be better. That's what it is. It's more that goes into it than just him being better by himself. But I think he's not fully understanding his ability, and I get it. He should already know this, and he's been playing a long time, but every game's different. He was running for his life a little bit in that game, but I think that he was seeing a little bit of ghost as well, because sometimes he was breaking the pocket, and he could have took 5 yards and got out of bounds, 10 yards, get out of bounds, and I think he's thinking, I got to get the ball down the field. I got to make a play. He's pressing.
Yep.
I don't think he has to do that. I think he's good enough to break that pocket, get the 5 yards, live to play another down. So the inconsistency with Kyron has to be better, even for us to win Saturday. Like, he's got to do some soul searching and figure out what he wants to do moving forward. I'll talk a little bit more about it later on, what I think about the quarterback situation. But I'll tell y'all this. If there was another quarterback on the roster that was better than number one, they would be playing. That plain and simple. I heard some people say, I put Pop in. If Pop was in that game, you might as well put my son in there that's in 10th grade. He would have got killed. Pop would have got murdered by that team. He would have got murdered.
That's a hell of a phrasing there.
Brian, first of all, read the phrase real quick, Tally, just so you know.
Who said this? Wes? He said drones. He says drones is drones. He's the best we got, but like a tampon, we have to use him to his full capacity. Why it's got to be a tampon? Why couldn't it be like a dirty cooler or something when you're camping? Why did it have to be a tampon?
I don't know, but you know what? I that's one for the.
You
the
threw it up. I was
bank.
like, oh man. I couldn't even get through.
Hey, Wes.
Yeah, Wes. All right, Brian. What did you have just watching in general with Kyron and the inconsistency that's there?
Tally talked about it. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was missing the layups and feeling like he had to, when that pocket did break down, like he had to make a play. On that first interception, like, number one, you can't throw that where you did, and if you do throw it, you got to throw it in the back of the end zone where only your guy can get it. And where you are on the field, you got to understand the situational. Have the situational awareness of where you are on the field, because you're at John Love's field goal range there. Like you're in field goal range. That's 3 points you're taking off the board by trying to do too much. And then we had other situations where you got a mostly clean pocket. You got a wide receiver breaking open on a dig or on a slant, and the ball's a little behind. The ball's not on time. It was just the little things that just the inconsistency that happened at times where you have established a drive. You're in a spot where you can start to look at putting points on the board, and now you're punting because you're not doing the little things right.
Shelton, what were you able to dig up about the performance on Saturday, statistics and deeper analytical perspective?
Yeah, well, Kyron didn't grade out particularly poorly, according to PFF.
Okay.
So, some of that might have been, his wide receivers, the pressure he was dealing with. Obviously, you can't fault a guy for, having guys in his face, every other play. As a defense, South Carolina generated 23 pressures in total. So you kind of have to imagine how much that kind of hurt Kyron. And that was a big negative for me, of course. But he had 2 turnover worthy throws according to PFF, which obviously Brian mentioned. That's not an ideal percentage, just based on how much they're throwing the ball. So I know some of it was drops, and Kyron's receivers could have played better. But I also think it seemed to me like in the second half, VT played a little bit more conservatively. And I think that was probably because Monty just wasn't really trusting Kyron's throwing ability. So I think, and again, that hurt the offense because, again, we know this team isn't going to, run the ball extremely well. So if you're limited in terms of what you can, what plays you can call, it's not good against the front like that. So I just thought, he was from a standpoint of like technique and footwork and stuff like that, I thought we saw some kind of regression, sort of what we were seeing early in last season as well.
Got it. I want to say the one thing where, to me, the bad with Kyron was there were some plays like designed rollouts and stuff. Tally, me and you talked about this on Sunday night. Design rollout, they took away the options, and he kind of hesitated. Where if he just, as soon as the first read, one was to Benji, he threw it, Benji got tackled at the line of scrimmage because the guy was on his back. Mm-hmm. If there were several of those, he just goes. I'm not saying he's breaking 30. I'm not saying he's even breaking 20. But what I'm saying is it's 5, it's 6, it's 7 upfield. Now you're 2nd and 3. Now you're manageable where you can go downfield. You can make other decisions. So it was the inconsistency because a couple of those deep balls, I know, Shelton, you've said in the past his deep balls where his struggles are. A couple of his deep balls were on the absolute money, and where that intermediate range where he had done better in the short range, that's where the struggles lie. Now, is it because it's a new system? It's new routes. Guys are breaking at different spots. They're coming through different areas. That could be the case. He did miss part of spring. He did miss part of summer. So the whole thing with him, you talk about the regression, is can it be a progression? Can we get to putting those catchable balls out there?
Well, you got to remember, it's still the first game of your quarterback in a new offense with majority new receivers. I mean, there's really only one receiver that he's worked with heavily in the group that he's been practicing with, both going back to 2023, 2024, and now this year. And he didn't even get to work a lot of that in this offseason. So, you wonder if this is going to kind of be a work in progress, if some of this is going to come along as we get a little bit deeper into the year. The hope is that you clean up enough between now and next week that you can at least win in the process, right? So I didn't see a ton that if Kyron can hit a couple more of those that he was missing a little bit on, all of a sudden you get a few more points on the board and you feel a little bit better about the way the outcome turned out there. So we'll see if the footwork and the other consistencies with decision making kind of get cleaned up as the season goes along, though.
100%. Let's go to the other one. Even though they were few and far between, well, Shelton, you got the number probably, so I'll let you. Missed tackles. Do you have the missed tackles?
I can get for you about 30 seconds.
Get the missed tackles.
I will say just one more thing on Kyron.
Go ahead.
If you want to put this in a positive, he did grade out extremely well when he was throwing from a clean pocket, about a 90 degree, which is elite. So obviously he struggled a lot when he was under pressure. But the one caveat to that is that he was throwing mainly in that short, 0 to 9 yard range. So mostly, short, easy throws. So again, if you're looking for silver linings, when he was protected, he was pretty good. But we obviously just need to see how things play out in the future. If you can kind of, play a little bit better when he's under pressure.
100% there. All right. So Shelton's going to look it up, and we're going to get the rate. But probably one of the biggest changes, and somebody put it in the chat, was we get a sack. Elijah Fall breaks through, knocks the shit out of Sellers. Ball fumbles, goes back 20-plus yards. The very next play is one of the worst missed tackles I've ever seen because didn't use leverage. Look, Charlie's just shaking his head. Brian's just giving me a cockeyed look in Shelton jersey. But when Burgos missed that tackle, it was such a deflator because it's 2nd and 33. They're out of field goal range. They ain't going to be able to – at best, they're maybe trying to get back to the 35 to have a chance to kick the field goal. That was a momentum shift because if you tackle him right there, it would have been a TFL or at the line of scrimmage. It's 2nd or it's 3rd and 33.
Yeah.
They don't go down. They don't score another point. They don't score the 3 points. That was deflating. Now, Shelton, there were some others. I know Kamari missed a sack. Michael Short missed a sack. How many total missed tackles? Because it felt like it was more than 2 or 3.
It was definitely more than 2. PFF has 15 total. So as a percentage of total tackles, that's about 27%, which is obviously not good. For perspective, South Carolina's missed tackle rate was about 12%. So I think if you're under, I don't know exactly what the average is, but you definitely want to be under like 15, low, high teens at best. 27% is not good.
Yeah. 15% or under is usually kind of what your target is. If you're getting much above that, that's a poor tackling game. And I mean, we saw it. We saw that there was at times where tackling was an issue. First drive in particular, that drive with Burgos missing that tackle. There were a couple other instances in there where, late in the game, I think we saw a couple on Sellers where, that extended a drive, later in the game there. So, you had some definitely consistently there was missed tackles kind of throughout the game, but it certainly reared its ugly head at some bad times as well.
Sheldon, before Tally jumps in on this, we got to create a metric because missed tackles is one thing because you can miss a tackle, but if you gain tackle and the guy gets 1 yard and gets tackled next, we need the missed tackled ratio. Like, okay, you missed 15 tackles, but it only accounted for 43 yards. You missed it, but you guys were all there.
What's a missed tackle to yak?
Exactly, but yak's different. That's just contact. That doesn't count for missed tackle. We got something there, Sheldon.
The one thing that's kind of adjacent to that is average depth of tackle. So that's what you track for like linebackers and defensive linemen, and that's what I was looking at last year. Like Keller and Lawson, I think last year had horrific average depth of tackle rates because when they were making the tackle, they were so far behind the line of scrimmage. So that's why sometimes tackle numbers can be misleading. You want to look at like where is the guy actually making the tackle. So that's one metric we can look at to try to evaluate like, okay, how well are these linebackers actually getting to the ball carrier before he's getting to that second level.
Yeah. So if all your tackles are at 5 yards as a linebacker, it's not
that
really
ain't good.
doing anything helpful.
Not great, Bob.
I mean, you're not surrendering a 30-yard run, but you only need a couple of those runs to get a first down if you're not getting the stop.
100%.
Close to the line of scrimmage.
Tally, I'm gonna kick it to you now.
Yeah. Now, so just talking about the missed tackles and stuff like that. To me, I feel like it's a little bit worse because you're playing so many players. You coming off the bench, you should be fresh. You don't know when you're going to get an opportunity to shine because you're rotating in and out with a lot of guys. Burgos, we'll just talk about him. You got to make that tackle, man. Like, that's your time to shine. If you want to get, I mean, he's a senior, right? He's got to be a senior. He's been there forever.
He is.
What other time do you have? I don't know how many plays he got, but again, I know he's rotating in with a lot of different guys. You should come in. You should be fresh, ready to go, and come in and make an impact. Because that's what some of the D linemen did. That's what I was seeing. A lot of those guys is rotating in. Hell, I don't even know all their name. What's the white dude name? Heisman.
Cody.
I ain't gonna say I thought he wouldn't be good. I thought he'd just, get in and do it. he was moving the line, coming in, making an impact. That's what you want to see from rotational pieces. And when you don't get that, you see, burst plays and things like that we seen on Sunday. So I'm hoping that they clean that up, and probably again, I don't know much about Cephas, but if he's rotating all these guys in and you're getting in and you're not doing what you need to do, you probably won't see no more time. They'll probably rotate somebody else in, and sometimes that's what you got to do.
Let's shout out Grayson Wimbish for getting the Heisman in on the preview panel as his surprise breakout player for the defense.
Yeah. By the way, I just looked at that play. It would have been a 6-yard loss had he completed that tackle. It would have been at their 36.
Yeah. That was just a big one. I don't want to just keep harping on that one.
I know, but it pisses you off
that was a big one. You had the momentum going. You got the momentum going. That place probably would have went crazy. That's the kind of plays that we keep missing. Virginia Tech keep missing those plays like that.
Missing it. It's the old man with the fishing hook in the money.
Yeah.
Just you're gonna get it. Real quick, one last piece of what went bad. The special teams error, second year now, on the opening game, an error where one of the guys does not line up, one of the gunners does not get on the line, leads to that punt return. So last year, Vandy, the error with the double numbers led to them kicking a field goal. Oh, that's not that big of a deal. At the end of the game, it was, because if they don't get that field goal early, we have a 10-point lead going into the last couple minutes, not a 7-point. In this case, it basically leads to them going up 9 at that point. And Stu, he got rid of 2 coordinators. You're supposed to be just doing special teams.
Well, you know what? I've seen a couple things, special teams, that was kind of a little iffy. I get it. Punt return is hard. I ain't never been a punt returner, so I wouldn't say that's easy, but you got to catch the ball. Like, you can't let it roll 20 yards. I do what you got to do to stop it where it's kicked. I think we was letting the ball roll a little bit too much sometimes. We had people coming out of the end zone, getting to the 15 or 16. Just let it go through the end zone. Down it in the end zone. Take it at the 25. So
that ball hits at the 3, get away from it. It's going to come in the end zone. Don't try to be a hero.
Right. Just stuff like that besides that. But that punt return or that punt team was definitely bad. There's some guys out there looking like me on the punt team. I don't know why they was out there. I'm just wondering, because they wasn't catching nobody.
Anything else to add on that, or anything else of what went bad? All right, let's go around now, and anything you weren't prepared for, and just one hitter. You tell me what you weren't prepared for. We'll start with Brian.
So one thing I wasn't prepared for, I'll say this. So we had a couple different game plans to kind of neutralize what Stewart was able to do. We had some delayed silent snaps, had the clap, long delay. You get the silent snap there. And we also did in the running game, especially in the option plan, we were trying to get him kind of on an island to make a decision. Use him as the option man for the majority of the contest there. So I wasn't prepared for us to have that type of game plan to slow down Stewart outside of just shading coverage there, chipping him with an extra guy, stuff like that. So I was surprised pleasantly to see that they were, taking that role seriously there.
Sean, what about you? Anything that you were not prepared for as you were looking through?
Yeah, well, I definitely wasn't prepared for how much our D-line really held up against them. I was very impressed. I wasn't down on the D-line, but I thought they held up really well against a formidable SEC opponent, at least, what we think is a formidable SEC opponent. So I thought they were really good there.
Tony, what about you?
I ain't gonna say I wasn't prepared, but like their front was better than I thought it would be. I didn't, I don't think that we did horrible, but I think that their front was really good. I wasn't prepared for them to pressure us 25 times.
You were prepared for Stewart and maybe everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, because we talked about a little bit, they had all these guys go pro and man, they were still pressuring us. I seen somebody run through Johnny Garrett and he had his legs up in the air like he was on a porno movie. I'm just saying. It didn't look good.
Oh man. For me, I think what I was kind of not prepared for, but I think I was I think we winning the yardage, like getting as many yards as them was shocking. And then like dominating time of possession with how good Faison's good. I mean, he missed that tackle. He took it right up on us, but we won it. We slowed the game down. We got in our game plan to how to play them. So that kind of shocked me. And not necessarily losing by double digits was one thing, but I told y'all what was going to happen. We were going to fist fight this thing, in which they did, and then they were going to hit just one big play late. I said they'd hit a play, kick a field goal. They got a touchdown instead.
Right.
That's what I saw happening. I saw a little bit more scoring, but as far as in the game went, that's exactly the fourth quarter. There you go. That's a good one. Right here. The safety, because they pounded him on that. But we went -1 in that situation. Not that it mattered, but we still went -1. Yeah. All right. I know we're going to hit on some of this when we get on keys, but what's one thing, Jonathan Talley, we got to do better moving forward?
We got to score more touchdowns than interceptions. We probably need more touchdown passes than interceptions for sure. We got to get some turnovers too. Definitely got to get some turnovers. I'll say that. So I think that's what we need to do to kind of – in this game, I don't even mean moving forward into the year. This game, we need to get some turnovers.
Got it. Shelton?
Red zone offense, it was pretty bad. I think I saw a stat from Game on Paper that our red zone efficiency was like in the 9th percentile of all games this season. So can't be settling for field goals. Got to score touchdowns.
Got to score touchdowns. Brian Ziegler.
I will put this in tandem. Fewer turnovers and untimely penalties. If you look at the way things went down between the unsportsmanlike and the interception and then the procedure penalty that resulted in the repunt, that's about a 13-point swing there. That's something you can't let happen. Mm-hmm. You got when you get in the scoring area, you got to put points on the board, and you can't let dumb penalties and turnovers affect that.
All right. How can we wait a second. I'm gonna put Phil's up here. Yes, we have to complete more than one pass in their territory, 1,000%. I think the one thing for me that I'll say that we did good, and I'll see us even do better, one rush for a loss. We had one rush where we lost yardage. That wasn't the case last year. Even with Tootin, he got buried in the backfield numerous times. We were, and I think it's more impressive because we start looking at that line and Stewart and Barrett and Thomas and saying, so wait a second, we stalemated at the line of scrimmage every time but one. And the one time was on the jet sweep, which Brian and Talley immediately said together in tandem, we missed a block. That's the only reason they got a loss.
Yeah.
But to me, do that moving forward. Continue to do that. Because if we're saying with South Carolina, we're stalemating them, holes are going to get opened against some of these other defensive lines. So let's keep that going. I always wanted to mention real quick before we get over to know the enemy, a couple recruits. The kid down from Louisiana, Cole Bergeron, the 6'4.5", 210 quarterback, 3-star, pretty good pickup. I don't think I had that on my bingo card for recruiting this year. And then the other one, I don't know if I had this one either, but I think they're undervaluing this kid because of, probably because he's coming to us, right, Tally? He's coming to us, and they ain't going to give him a 4-star. Andrew Rogers out of Grimsley. down in Greensboro. 6'6", 240. He's like somewhere above 400 in the national rankings. He's a 4-star composite. Two pretty good pickups in a class that's not going to be that big, because I think now what we're seeing is Virginia Tech is going to be 15 to 18 high school recruits, and it's going to be a lot of portal guys. That's going to be our model from now on. So anything on either one of these guys before we flip over to this weekend?
Robbie say good.
Yeah.
He up there with him. He up there with Robbie.
It's not far at all from Robbie, about a 45-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, as always, we are sponsored by Counts Family Pharmacy in Blacksburg and Moments on the Maury. So as we get into Know the Enemy, it is the Vanderbilt Commodores. They're coming in 1-0 after a 45-3 win versus the mighty Charleston Southern. Yes, I do say that sarcastically. But the thing about doing this is kind of reintroducing yourself to guys, because a lot of the players they had last year are still here this year. And let's just talk about it's Tim Beck, Jerry Keel's offense. Best thing is this year we got tape on it. We have tape of what they're probably going to do. Unlike last year, although you thought we know what they're going to do. But obviously, when you're talking about Vanderbilt, you got to talk about, what is he, like 32 now? He keeps applying for years of eligibility, and they keep granting him eligibility. I'm trying to be a joker here. But Diego Pavia, guy burned us last year, got us on numerous things. Started off hot this year against the FCS foe, throwing for 275 and 3 touchdowns. But if you don't know his game, Brian Talley, I don't know which one of y'all going to talk about him, but y'all go ahead and kind of get that little high-level stuff on him, and then Sheldon kick in anything you got.
Yeah, we know Diego Pavia, man. He's a dual threat quarterback. He's got that moxie in the pocket, that pocket presence. He's what you call a gamer. He's not really physically imposing, but he makes plays, especially with his legs. We saw him a lot last year, running kind of a triple option look out of the shotgun down in Nashville. That really gave us a ton of problems, and we couldn't get off the field consistently, and it ultimately bit us in the end there at the end of the game as well. Tally, what you got?
Pavia is just a nightmare because he's just a football player. He's a good quarterback, but when you watch him play, he's not scared of anything. Not too big, but he's gonna go get it. He's making people miss in the open field. He's very heady. When he gets along that sideline, he knows right when to take that step out. So you hit him late, and he makes throws. He's got some players over there. We'll talk about a couple of them here in just a minute, but definitely gonna be. We'll have our hands full. But I say all that to say, different type of quarterback than Sellers, but he's not better than Sellers. Sellers is, I don't think he's as good as they hype him up to be. I don't know if he's the number one player that like they saying, but different type of quarterback. But I don't think if we can keep Sellers in the pocket a little bit, we can kind of keep Pavia in there. So I'm hoping that we throw some things at him that he hadn't seen. Sheldon, you got anything on him?
Yeah, last year he had the 4th best PFF grade when throwing from a clean pocket, which is considered one of the more predictive and stable stats for evaluating quarterback play is pocket presence. The other quarterbacks on that list: Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Shadur Sanders, all above him, and then Tyler Show, Will Howard, and Tommy Castellanos through the next 3. So that's a list of really good quarterbacks, almost all NFL guys or guys that will be in the NFL pretty soon. So he is a very calm and imposing presence when he's throwing from the pocket.
Yes, he is. All righty. And who does he like to throw to? Well, the guy's 6'4". He's like 245. Talk about Eli Stowers. He absolutely torched us last year. This year already starting hot. 4 for 86 against Charleston Southern last weekend. Did not have a touchdown, but averaging 21 and a half per reception. And if you go back to the game last year against us, he put up similar numbers. He led them in receiving yards against VT last year. It was only 2 for 46, but everybody else was held in check pretty much. I think the next guy was like at 30. So he is that guy. Now, Tally, you played it. You've seen him play. Obviously, you've seen him play, in person. You probably watched the Alabama and the Texas game last year.
He's a matchup nightmare. He's a matchup nightmare, not because he's not like super technical on routes, so he's not going to, juke you to get open like you see a good wide receiver do. But he's like an NFL tight end. You know what I'm saying? One of those hybrid tight ends that's too fast for certain people to guard him and too big for other people to guard him. So he uses his body to get where he wants to go, and he can high point the ball with that big frame. So he's a nightmare to deal with. We have some people that can deal with him. That's why we play the game. But he's gonna be fun to watch, man. I pay attention to tight ends all the time, and he's one of those. But like Notre Dame, Penn State type tight ends. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of, they should be a wide receiver, but they're so big because I don't see him doing a whole bunch like in the running game where he's just mauling people. He can block a little bit, but he's out there to catch the ball. So,
yep. I mean, he's a guy that went to New Mexico State as a quarterback, so very much a Logan Thomas transition type guy.
Yeah.
Just did it, in college before he got to the NFL. He's got that similar type skill set. Just a body, can make a play. Like I said, like Tally, you said, not very technical. Isn't a great blocker. He's not going to do a ton from a blocking standpoint, but he's just a playmaker.
Yeah, 100%. And it showed in last year. I mean, the really big game last year is he didn't torch us, but he made a couple big plays for us on us last year. His big game last year, go look at the Alabama tape. He crushed them.
Yep.
He crushed them last year. And I know hopefully everything that's going on with Alabama stays, because I'm sure Tally's having a nice laugh this week down in his home state with some of those fans. But yeah, we lost Shelton. I don't know what Shelton had. Shelton,
hey,
did you have anything on Stowers before we move on?
Nope, nothing.
Nothing on Stowers. Okay. Let's talk Cedric Alexander, another one of the guys we saw last year. It looks like he is their lead back again for the second straight year. Just 83 yards on 12 carries on Saturday against Charleston Southern. But, last year, right at 800 yards total from scrimmage, so he definitely has some pass catching ability. Anything else, Brian? Just kind of reviewing your notes on him from last year and maybe looking a little bit this year?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that last year, he was healthy, start of the year, kind of faded as the year went on with some injuries and had some problems with that. Was a little less effective, a little less explosive, but sounds like he's healthy, rounded into form. When he's in form, he does a good job of making the first person miss, and he does have some explosiveness where he can hit the long one on you. So that's one thing we're gonna have to make sure that we're keeping him in check there. And when we look at a team that was struggling with some missed tackles, we want to make sure that we're tackling sure on him in the backfield.
He's a good athlete, man. He made a catch in that whoever they just played.
Charleston Southern.
Let them die. Yeah.
Pretty much.
He made a hell of a catch for a touchdown, I believe. He's a great athlete. It's fun to watch him play. Not a fan of Vanderbilt, but I'm a fan of good football, and to watch him do some of the things he's done, and then seeing him live last year, you got to go hit him. You got to go hit him. You can't come up and play around if you want to get him to the ground. So, again, I think that we have the defense to do it. It just comes down to what the game plan looks like, and do we want it? I think Virginia Tech is one of those teams, schools that should always have an underdog mindset, no matter what it feels like. We're 7-point favorite. They should The coaches should just instill it in their team that you're the underdog.
You're gonna lose.
Go win.
Everybody
You
hates
should
you.
always feel disrespected.
You always should feel disrespected, man. This team embarrassed you last year. You know, you went down there to their house and people was falling out and fainting and all type of junk. And they had half the stadium closed down because it was raggedy. Whatever.
And it's still closed down? They still haven't opened up the end zone.
Had to listen to freaking country music, walking in there and walking out.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with country music.
I hate country music. I don't want to hear Luke Bryan, Brian Luke, Dennis the Menace, whatever their names is. I want to hear Inner Sandman. How about that?
Oh, whoa.
Coming to Blacksburg.
Whoa.
I want to hear Inner Sandman, and I want the team to go out and feel disrespected and go win. And I ain't talking about a 3-hour stomach ache. I just want you to go. I want to be able to get up, go in the kitchen.
Want to get a cigar and a whiskey.
I just want to go in the kitchen and just be rambling in the pantry for chips and not worried about that play because we already up, 21 points, and I ain't worried about them coming. Man, go make a statement.
Hey,
that's what I want you to do.
Somebody let Luke Bryan know it's on site when Tally sees him.
Exactly.
And then when you go to Nashville, all of their bars are named after somebody country.
Yes,
they're like, oh, this is Blake Shelton's place. I'd be like, what kind of food they got in there? I don't care about Blake Shelton's pretty cool now. I ain't trying to talk bad about him. But I'm just like, man, I don't care about all that stuff. I'm trying to get up here to see this game. So we want to hear Inner Sandman. That's what we want to hear. Forget that country music.
There you go. All right, one last piece. Wanted to talk about their offensive line. Looks like they had a set 5 going out there. Again, they were playing like Tally, you joking. Literally, I think Charleston Southern was the worst FCS team last year. So it literally was they were playing school for the blind. But something I was listening to and it caught my ear was they feel, some of their fans and some of their podcast hosts feel that they really do not have a true tackle on the team. It's just a bunch of guards. But with what they do, it makes sense, right? They're running a lot of option. They need to get guys upfield. But the one thing that caught my eye, stat-wise, against Charleston Southern, not a good FCS foe, they had 3 offensive holding penalties. That says something. Because, Brian, when there's an offensive holding penalty, what does that usually mean happen to the offensive lineman?
You're either getting beat or the ref's on some bullshit.
And I think at a 28-0 game, I don't think the ref was on bullshit. So, Brian, anything with any of these guys, Shelton, anything? Because I'll be honest, I watched a couple highlights, but it's like, can I really watch this? Can I get anything out of it? No.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton that jumps out. You kind of highlighted it right with, this is going to be an option-focused offense. You don't need a true tackle out there. I mean, this is still a team that's going to be dropping back, but because of the way they run the football and the way they use that rushing attack, you're going to have some built-in buffer for a pass rush because of that, except in obvious situations, right? So, you don't need a true blindside NFL caliber tackle out there, but they do a pretty good job of what they do well in that option game. I'm interested to see if we can do well on those first and second downs and we get them into those more obvious passing situations, how we're able to exploit them, but with not having really traditional tackles on that offensive line.
Sean, anything on the O-line from your statistical point of view?
No, I think anything. You can get me back in a sec. I'm looking up some stuff.
All righty. Well, that's the offense. I mean, and we know what they are. We all saw it on tape last year. We just got to be better this year because last year the thing is, and we'll all sit here and say it, defense didn't play great last year, but we still should have won the fucking game. That's it. The defense didn't play great.
The offense didn't play great for a half.
I'd say 3 quarters. I'm not going to give you half because there were parts of the second half where they just disappeared at times. Like at the end. All right, let's go over to defense. Big story on defense.
Hey, can I say something about offense before we go to defense?
Absolutely, sir. That's what we're here for.
If Chance Fitzgerald comes to Blacksburg and has a legacy game, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna lose my. He better not even have a catch. He didn't have a catch against Charleston Southern, right?
Let me
He
confirm.
comes back to If he comes to Blacksburg and I hear his name called, no disrespect to the kid, but I'm just saying, he wasn't playing at Tech. He ain't playing that game. If he comes back, because see, that's what we normally do. We usually give people who ain't the caliber to have a legacy game. We let him have a legacy game. The dude from Syracuse last year, I don't even know his name. Fucking catching balls all on us. A kid from Duke, probably never caught a football a day in his life. Had a 93-yard bomb the first play. Different Nick Harbor doing it. Yeah, Nick, he's a good player. That's NFL guy, right? If y'all let Chance Fitzgerald come to Blacksburg and head top you, I'm gonna nut tap you.
There you go. I get that. No, he did not have a catch against Charleston Southern. He did not have a catch against Charleston Southern. So there is that. Sean, if you've got anything on offense, we'll let you kick back in here. I want to click over to defense and talk about kind of a big story. Last year, big story was Clark Lee was trying to save his job. Clark Lee took over to defense. And they played pretty well last year. Pretty solid all the way, Vanderbilt standards. But he has decided to turn that over, and he is turning it over to a guy by the name of Steve Gregory. Well, Steve Gregory is a former Patriot, and he was on staff last year. He was a consultant last year at Vanderbilt. He had been in the NFL since 2018, various positions with the Lions, the Dolphins, for about 6 years there. But he's turned the keys over to him. And the one thing, if y'all noticed, and it kind of was pointed out, he likes to be a little bit more aggressive. Where if you've known Clark Lee, like at Notre Dame and where he's coached, Clark Lee is a more buttoned-up approach, very do what you do, stay in your zones, and we're going to win the game. This guy's a little bit different. So saying all that, Brian, let's take a look at a few of these players here. And I know you and Tally got a couple guys highlighted. Who you want to start with?
Let's start with CJ Hurd, man.
Right.
I feel like he is the biggest playmaker on their defense. He's a very sure tackler, big high motor guy. And when you look at the back end of that defense, he's really the quarterback of that defense. He's their leader. He's the undisputed leader on the defense. So he's really the biggest difference maker that they have on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and he came in as a transfer from FAU, and 80-plus tackles last year there. Didn't play much, but found the ball in the air against Charleston Southern for a pick. So he's already making his voice heard there. And again, it's why you love the portal and why you hate the portal, because in the old days he would have just played at FAU. He would have never made his way up. So yeah, Tally, who you got you want to talk about here?
Mulan's brother, was it Elon? I don't even know where he's from. I ain't gonna even try to pronounce that last name. But D tackle didn't play in the first game, right? We didn't see him in the first game, but they talked a lot about him. Supposed to be a monster in the middle. Hopefully we don't see him. I don't care if we don't see him, but
bro is big. I mean, 6'7", 312, something like that.
It's a big dude, man.
He's a big son of a bitch. Yeah.
So we gonna have to get him off the line. We're gonna have to do some stuff to create some space so we can move. But again, I don't think that he's gonna be more talented than what we've seen this past week. And this is what I'll say just about the team in general. No disrespect to Vanderbilt. A lot of talk about Vanderbilt last year, right? I know they're trying to build a program. How many games did they win? Did they win 6 games?
They did. They won 6 games.
They're Virginia Tech. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times last year people was but I'm saying a lot of times people last year were talking about them like because they beat Alabama. This ain't the same Alabama as when Nick was there. So True. No disrespect to Vandy. They beat us, they beat Alabama, but they still only won 6 games.
It's true.
We got to go in and punish teams like this. Just go in and play. Go in and do what you do. Don't go in with this conservative shit. if you can get these receivers one-on-one, like South Carolina was playing us, they can beat their corners.
Yeah.
Let them go beat them. Kyron, I'm gonna say this about Kyron too before we get to the end of this. I was gonna talk a little bit about it on keys to win. If I'm a coach, I'm not a coach, but if I'm a coach in that locker room or somebody recruiting or one of them young ladies who help with whatever they do, I would pull Kyron to the side and say, listen, man, this is what you need to do. You ain't going to the NFL. This is just what I would say. I don't know if he's going to the NFL or not. You ain't going to the NFL. Just get that through your head and think about this. You just need to focus on being the best Virginia Tech quarterback that there ever was, right? You may not be, but that's what you need to focus on. You need to be the guy, probably like, what's the Texas quarterback that just left? Quinn Ewers, right? Be the guy that gets Virginia Tech back. You go out and you win 8 games this year, you can come to Blacksburg and do whatever you want to do. You're always going to have a great name in Blacksburg just because of what you did this year. You ain't got no more years. If you got to run, go run. If you got to throw, go throw. Go back to the bowl game when it was raining. I don't know how many rushing yards Kyron had, and I'm not saying we need to run him like that, but I got so fucking tired of hearing the commentator say, oh, they don't want him to take hits like that. He know what he doing. Like, he's been playing football a long time. He's about the size of Sellers. They wasn't saying Sellers taking hits. Sellers was getting crushed too. He's a strong guy. He's able to get up. Kyron can do that too.
And he got up numerous times.
He's not some injury-prone kid. I get it. Y'all are frustrated. Everybody's frustrated because not y'all, but I'm saying the chat, the fans, because I've heard people say, Kyron is this and that. Kyron gives us the best chance to win. Kyron just has to go out and be Kyron. If you got to go and get 10 yards and get out of bounds, go do that. If you got to go get 5 yards and get down, stop going head first. Slide and make them hit you and get 15 more yards. Play this game smart. Go out and be the best Virginia Tech quarterback that you can be and let the chips fall where they may. Because there may be some more aspirations. There may be some NFL in there, but we got to – for Kyron to get to the next level, he's got to win 8 games. He's got to turn some heads with the fan base, with the people who are watching him. Because right now he's an afterthought. You know what I'm saying? When he's playing they're going to talk about Diego Pavia more than they talk about Kyron.
10,000 times more.
And he's at your house. When we played at Miami last year, he was pissed off. And he went into that game, and you could tell that he wanted to show that he was the same caliber as Cam Ward. Not saying that he is. He's his own quarterback, but I'm saying he should go into every game pissed off and say, I'm going to get disrespected. I got to go out and earn every bit of respect I got to get. So if I got to run this motherfucker 50 times today for us to win, that's what I'm going to do. Because if you go back and look at Mike was probably the best to do it at Virginia Tech. He would have 100 yards passing and 100 yards rushing if that's what he had to do to win. Yeah. Just saying. I'm off my soapbox. I'm going to let it go.
You're going to let it go. Shelton, I'm going to wrap this up a little early. I'm going to hit one more player, and then we're going to get into keys because Callie, I'm assuming you read some stuff, and it just set you off. Anything offensively, defensively, statistically that is, or data-wise, jumping out to say if we're going to beat them or if they're going to do the unthinkable, it's this.
Yeah, not really, because they had some high PFF graders like Miles Capers, one of their edge guys, third highest graded SEC player right now. But again, only one opponent who was really bad, so I don't know how much to make of that. But I would say, looking at some of the analytics, they're pretty balanced overall, offensively and defensively. Top 45 in both metrics. So I don't know. I mean, they're kind of a little bit maybe what VT was last year. Just kind of good on both sides of the ball, but not like elite. So yeah, I don't know what to make of them yet, just based on the small sample size and the fact that they haven't really played anyone of note.
Got it. All right. One last name to know, Brian. I'm gonna just jump through this. Langston Patterson. He's their leading tackler. He got 10 tackles on us last year. Basically, motor guy, all that fun stuff. Langston Patterson. Let's get to the keys here. Brian, I'm going to let you lead. I'm going to let Tally get his breath here. But, Brian, what's your key to this game?
You need to score points on offense, and I mean literally. We didn't score any points on offense. The special teams scored. They kicked some field goals. We got a safety, but we didn't score offensive points. So you got to do that first. That's the first thing you got to do if you want to beat Vanderbilt is actually score offensive points. So go out there and do that. As Tally said, let the chips fall where they may.
Shelton, what about you? What's the key for the Hokies this week?
Yeah, I would say contain Pavia, keep him in the pocket. I mentioned, his pocket numbers. First of all, you want to pressure him, obviously, but he had 276 scramble yards last year for Vanderbilt, 8 rushing touchdowns, of course, one that came against Virginia Tech. So you got to limit him there and just try to get as much pressure on him as you can, because if you let him sit in the pocket all day, he is going to make you pay for it.
All right, I'm going to go to me next because, Tally, I'll let you close it out. For me, I'm going to pull up Dwight's little comment here. Make him pay. Make Pavia pay. Be a goon. Be the assholes. You know what? Hit him. Slam him. If you get a 15, make him pay. He's got moxie. He's got will. But it's like anybody that's ever been punched. Keep getting punched and keep getting hurt. A lot of times you lose that energy to keep going forward. You see it in boxing matches, fights, UFC fights all the time. Somebody keeps sticking you and keep hurting you. It's like, I got to do something different here. Make him pay, whether it's in the pocket or when he scrambles. Make him pay. Good things will happen. Tally?
I'm going to keep saying it. Offense has to take the layups, man, and you got to make them. If it's a 5-yard play there, I'm not putting it all on the quarterback, all on the receivers, all on the line. It's as a whole. If it's a 5-yard pass, let's get the 5-yard pass. If there's a 10-yard scramble, take the 10-yard scramble. Kind of like what you said, Curtis, and what Dwight's saying in the chat. I mean, you got to go out and have a little bit of asshole to you, man. You got to go out and you got to feel. Again, I don't want nobody to think that I'm putting this all on our quarterback, but I got a lot of faith in Kyron Drones, right? And just for him, I don't think that we have anything else in the well that is as good as him right now. Maybe coming up, maybe some of the youngsters, I don't know. But if they could be on the field for us to win, they'd be on there. Yeah. So I need him to go out and feel disrespected. Like I said, they're coming to your house. You're gonna hear a lot about Diego Pavia, another 6-6 quarterback. You know what I'm saying? That ain't one shit. That everybody's gonna talk about how great he is. All Kyron got to go out and do is take the layups and put some damn points on the board. Go score some points.
Score some points. All right, let's get our predictions in here. Shelton, I'm gonna start with you.
Yes. So my prediction, my brain says that Pavia is going to light VT up, which I think is probably true. However, I do think VT is going to find a way to get a win. I think it will be the first one-score victory for the Hokies in 3 years. I'll say 27-21. That's my score. But I do think the Hokies will find a way to get a win and get that Power 4 non-conference losing streak off their backs for the first time in 8 years.
Please.
It was in the chat. Somebody had it's 8 years to the day, West Virginia at FedEx Field back in 2017.
That's crazy.
Brian's got y'all. If y'all didn't pay attention last week, Brian's got a vendetta right now.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna commit to the bit at this point. I got to see us take care of a P4 opponent before I'm gonna move off of this. I've got us losing a one-score game to Vandy, 30-27.
Jesus Christ.
Well, he said he's gonna do it. He said until they prove him wrong,
he's got to. I don't blame him.
Hey,
he's right.
You got to show me you can take care of business against a Power 4 out of conference at home, man. And I haven't seen it, so I need to see it. And until I do, that's what I'm gonna have.
There you go. Tally, what about you?
I want to go with Brian, but I can't do it, man. I just can't. I can't say it. You know what I'm saying? Even if I think it and believe it, I can't say that. So I gotta say I'm leaning more towards the Shelton, but I think it's gonna be more like a 10-point win. I'd be too nervous to say we win in a one-score game, so I'm gonna say a 10-point victory. I don't know how deep we go into that scoring thing. And I just want to hit on what Andretti says here. Just curious, is Drones really better, or does NIL have something to do with him starting? Sometimes NIL does have to do with people starting. Our coach is on the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
That seat is hot. That motherfucker feeling like his ass is feeling like pins and needles is sticking it right now.
100%.
If somebody else is better, they're going in the game. If he goes out and he ain't good enough, somebody else is going in that game. That's just my feeling. If he doesn't have a good practice, like if he don't, somebody else would already be in. So I think Drones is the best. That's just my of what we have. So that's just my assessment. I could be wrong, but back to what you asked, Curtis. We're gonna win by 10 points.
Win by 10 points. I am gonna go 31-23. Technically, that is a one-score game. But I think it's one of those things where, like, the faith I have in the defense right now is I put up 23, and the way I'm seeing this in my head, they're getting to 23 with like a score with 1 minute left to go. Like they had to drive the whole field in the fourth quarter, and they finally punched it in. And they have to do an onside. We recover, game over. We kneel on it. So by 8, I think we all hope it's this score though, so we can all be. I know Brian's gonna come over to the house Saturday night. We're gonna have some drinks, eat some food, watch a game. So yeah. But throw your predictions, because again, I'm going to say this, and I said I was going to say it at the beginning of the program, but I decided hold on. I think this is the biggest game for Brent Pry, because if you lose this one, there's going to be a lot of people. I'm not saying they're not going to tune in, but like you can't be the guy. You started 0-2, you lost a home game. Like, you've got to win this game, because as you look at the schedule, you win this game and you start touting out everything, right? You could win quite a few in a row going into October. But if you don't win this one, there we go.
It's gonna get ugly.
It's gonna get ugly. Potentially. I don't know fast. Maybe like come November fast, but
was you on X after this last game?
You know what?
It's gonna get ugly off. Yeah, whether the win-loss record gets ugly or not, it's gonna get ugly behind the scenes.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, the whole thing is, and I made this point to a guy at work today. Y'all ready for it? Brent Pry has 2 years left on his contract. Mm-hmm. 2 years. Because he had a 6-year contract. First of all, which guy get fired? Because Witt ain't going to be allowed. Brian, you said at the beginning, back a couple weeks ago, if Witt ain't fired by mid-October, you are not getting a new football coach next year. The second thing is going to be the buyout. If you fire him this year, and you got to pay 26 and 27, and then you got to pay, you better have $30 million. Witt's already screaming to the board, I need more money. If you fire Pry after this year, you better come up with $30 million, because that's going to be his buyout, plus to pay a whole new coaching staff at the rack rate, what we're doing now. So everybody can scream and bitch, and we need to fire him. And I might agree with you, but I look logically at things. We ain't got $30 million just to piss down and say, you fired, we're going to get a new coach.
We're bringing Chucky
in. That's what I've heard.
Then it better be about $220 million, because he ain't going to go for no $5 million a year.
Right.
It's going to be about 8.5 to 9. There we go. That's my thing. Do the math. And when the math don't math, y'all going to have to deal with Brent Pry next year. We can be out on him at this year, and we can still talk about these guys and being happy for our players, but he going to be here next year.
Look, if it gets bad, then, again, the chips will fall, Witt will get fired in mid-October, and everything will happen. But
it ain't going to get bad until November.
Well, no, it can get if you are
if it's bad.
If you only have 2 wins and it's the middle of October, that's when it gets bad.
But the whole thing is you got to get rid of Witt first.
That's what I'm saying. That's when you fire Witt. Like if you're that bad in mid-October, you're firing Witt so you can hire a new coach.
Urban Meyer ain't coming here, Andre. I ain't even putting that up there.
Oh, all right. He said Urban Meyer.
He said Urban Meyer. You gonna get on his ass?
We got a better chance of getting Michael Myers. than Urban Meyer. That's what I'll say.
All right. As usual, it's always fun. We also have our big screeners coming up. If somebody rode with Tally last week, y'all would have made yourself some money.
I was on, dog.
Brian, you down, man. We're going to run it up here. Current records will be showed every week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
It wasn't a good week for me. It wasn't a good week for me.
Wasn't a good week. Me and Shelton, we're just average players here. We're just doing things. And, this is a weird slate week because there's one big game out there, but there's a lot of other intriguing games. Like intriguing, some rivalry games, but just intriguing games. I went with the big one, though. It will be right over there on Saturday night as the Hokies take the big screen behind me. As Michigan and Underwood, who did not look like a freshman on Saturday, go into Boomer Sooner Country playing Oklahoma. Oklahoma laying 5.5. I'm going to go Oklahoma here. More for the home field advantage than anything. And for the fact that Brent Venables is on the hot seat. We talked about Brent Pry on the hot seat. Oklahoma got the money to fire their coach, buy him out, and go hire a new coach. I think Oklahoma wins this one. Good game. I think it's going to be a good game. Like a touchdown win for them, which covers the 5.5. Shelton.
Yeah, I'm gonna go OU. I think they're better than people think, and I also think it's kind of similar to a similar situation to VT where you got a coach under a lot of pressure to win. So I think they'll get kind of a much needed win relative to kind of where they're at as a program against Michigan at home.
Tally?
We're going Michigan, baby. We're going Michigan because they keep coming in Virginia taking players.
And that player was right above here on Friday night. And the truth is, he lost to the high school local, and they ain't good at football. So, and I know Louisa is a smaller school, Brian, but still, if you got the number 4 running back in the whatever he is in the country, and you can't beat Godwin,
well, you still got to block.
It's true.
At the end of the day, like if you're not blocking, that running back's only going to be able to do so much.
Hey, we didn't block for certain running backs in the 2000, and they still got like 1,000 yards. So
yeah, but it's relative, man. Like the gaps in high school, they swing real big. It's not like a bad offensive line in college is only marginally worse than an average offensive line. So it can get a little crazy there. But yeah, I've got Michigan here. I like what they look like so far. I saw the Brent Venables down on my knees thing getting passed around. I came back through. I was like, okay, all right, hang on.
Oh my God.
Those players are just lucky that they didn't catch eyes with each other while that was said, because there ain't no way they would have made it out that press conference without dying at that stage, man. Anyway, that's what I got. I got Michigan here.
He's got Michigan. Let's go next. What game? Oh, UVA NC Tally, your game.
Yeah, two opponents we gotta see this year. Not saying I like either one, but I got UVA winning this one.
UVA takes 2.5.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I've got State winning this one. I think these two teams aren't that much different on paper. And I don't think that NC State's going to run away with this one. I think it is going to be about a 1-score game, but I think they're at least going to cover that 2.5 at home.
I think State covers the 2.5. State unfortunately had to play ECU, who was in their Super Bowl last weekend or last Thursday night. We know how that goes with the G5 opponents. And clearly Coastal is one of those places that it's set up to get rated every other year. Like seriously. Because it's going to be kids who can't get into certain schools or lower 2-stars who are athletic. They're going to go to Coastal. They're going to do something freaky. And it's going to be like, I know he ain't playing because he hurt Braden Bennett or that D-line kid or those other kids. I think that's what I'm going to say Coastal is. Next year, Coastal will be good. Then the year after that, they'll lose everybody and suck ass again. NC State by 10. Sheldon,
Yeah, I'll take. I will take NC State. I think UVA is due for a stinker, and I like them at home.
UVA is due for a stinker. They've done a lot of that in the last half decade. So
yeah.
Whew. Shelton, you are up next.
Yes, I went with the appropriately named game El Assico between Iowa and Iowa State. The nickname derived from the horrid lack of offense that always happens in this game. But we do see some cool defensive and special teams plays. So in this game, Iowa State -3.5. I will take the Cyclones.
Bam. Tally.
I'm going Iowa State. I've only watched them play. I haven't watched Iowa play, and not saying they were great, but I like what I've seen out of them, so I'm going to take Iowa State.
Brian Siegler.
I'm going Iowa here. There's not really any reason here. I'm just vibes. I think Iowa's going to be come to play with this one, and I'm not sure exactly what we can expect there. So I'll take the Hawkeyes here.
He will take the Hawkeyes. I am going to take the Cyclones by 3.5. I think they're set up to make another good run this year. The game overseas against Kansas State. By the way, over under. Anybody want to guess what it is for this one?
34.5.
I was going to say 28.
It's over 40 this year, y'all. It's 41.5. So clearly Brian and Tally are going to call their bookie and say, they ain't scoring 40 points. You seen these two teams play?
Hammer the under.
Hammer the under. So there that is. Last but not least, Brian, where are you going?
We're going to Louisville, man. We got the good old Jamie Dukes heading down there to Louisville, taking on the Cardinals. Cardinals 13.5 favorite at home there. That's a little too rich for my blood. JMU is definitely, I think, going to be the best team in the Sun Belt this year. I think this may be one of the more talented teams they've had in the last few years. I think they're going to make this a close one. I think it's going to be about a 10-point loss for the Dukes, but I'll take JMU here.
I'm going to go oppo of you and not so fast. If anything, Jeff Brom can score points, and anytime he plays like a G5 school, it feels like he can just put up points. I think it's one of those where it's like it's 10 as we go into the fourth quarter, and then they hit the Jets and win by 17.
Okay, I was going to say, if this was 14 and a hook, would you have bit?
14 and a hook would have been tough. I would ask you to pick another game. Choose another game. I can't do this. Sheldon, who you got?
Yeah, I definitely think Louisville's going to win. I'd say probably by 10. I thought it was kind of an abnormally large spread. But again, trust Vegas. Vegas always knows. I just think Jimmy will do just quite enough to cover.
I'm going Louisville. If Brian said they're going to win by 10, why not win by 4 more? 14. That's what I think.
Oh, man. So there are all of our picks for big screeners. A lot of other good games to keep an eye on Saturday. I know we're not playing them this year. Illinois Duke could be tricky. Illinois is like ranked in the top 10 probably for the first time in maybe 15, 16 years. Juice, remember Juice Wells? Was that his name?
Oh, yeah.
Juice Wells took him to the Rose Bowl years ago. Boston College, Michigan State. Huh?
Juice Williams.
Why did I say Wells? I don't know. I got it on there.
Juice Wells was the wide receiver that was at South Carolina, then went to Ole Miss last year.
He is all over it. So, boys, y'all got anything else y'all want to add before we wrap this up on this wonderful Wednesday night?
Fuck country music and beat Vandy. That's it.
All right. With that wraps up this episode of the Boundary Corner Podcast, brought to you by Counts Family Pharmacy in Blacksburg and Moments on the Moor in Lexington. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
And I'm Shelton Moss.
We are part of the College Huddle Network. Visit BoundaryCornerBT.com to listen to all of our episodes. While you're there, follow us Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and also click subscribe to the favorite podcast source. We're on them all. As always, we let our buddy Jason Long, he plays us in, he plays us out. Check out jasonlongmusic.com, where it will link you to all of his music on Apple, Spotify, his YouTube, Facebook pages, also his live events around the Roanoke Valley area. We appreciate y'all for listening. Appreciate y'all in the chat tonight because y'all are on one. Y'all are on a banger tonight, chat. Bring that heat every week. As always, let's go.
Hokies.